So all the stuff I ordered that was supposed to be in February all came in March. Then all the stuff that came in March came in March. And here we are with a pretty big unboxing video. What's poppin', guys? Guard Champion here, and today we're gonna unbox a bunch of toys and do reviews on them. This unboxing actually includes a couple of pops that are not Demon Slayer, but I still challenge you to check those out anyway because they are actually really cool. There's a few figures that ended up being a little delayed. I'll put them on screen here, so those will be in a separate video. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on anything that is unboxed today, and if you end up getting any of these. All introductions in place, let's rip these open. Well, not really, because I like to keep my boxes nice, so we're gonna open them very gently. We'll start with this Sumi Ink Demon Slayer Funko Pops. As a whole, I love the concept of these, and I'm glad that they went down this artistic route. It gives us collectors an opportunity to have something different than the norm. The cool thing about all these is that they are not in the generic molds that we usually get. They are all new molds, so the general public should be happy. The box design of these are actually top tier. It's simple yet effective. Instead of sticking these things in generic design boxes, they kept the Sumi Ink theme for the boxes as well. If I were to give the SHINOBU treatment to these boxes, this would have been it. The style of these art boxes will make them fun to display around the manga or the manga box set. They use the grayscale, blacks, and whites to make each pop unique. I'll go over this individually for each pop as we cover them, but how they are used can make some stand out more than others. One last thing I wanted to talk about for this line is that since the boxes and figures are all black and white, if you get these signed by the voice actors, the colored signature would look so good. We'll start with Nezuko. At first glance, she was my least favorite because the style didn't seem as effective on her compared to the others, but I was mistaken once taken out of the box. Her Haori was washed out with white, which is why I originally thought this wasn't good, but the details on her hair and muzzle make up for it. The highlights in her hair make it visually appealing, and then the muzzle. My biggest complaint with Funkos is the uses of finish on these figures. Different parts are glossy, while others are matte, and they don't usually make sense with how they use it. If you look closely at her muzzle, the stroke of black is glossy, which is my favorite detail to this. If you've ever written or drawn with ink, it is similar to how the ink is wet. So when I look at this, it looks like it was freshly drawn and the ink is still wet. Chef's kiss. I love that they included that, and almost like they watched my videos or something. I highly doubt it. Next in line is the Nosuke. It's always a good time when he has his two blades out, and I can appreciate that because they try to utilize it without copying an existing mold. There's only so much you can do with him still fitting in the box, so I give them all the credit in the world for this one. He is visually striking with how they conveyed him in the Sumo Ink style with his board mask. There's a lot of contrast because there isn't much grayscaling outside of the eyes, so it's mostly whites and strong uses of black for the shadows. This combination creates a more dynamic effect which draws your eyes to it more so than the grayed areas. With that said, it loses effectiveness anything under the head since it's mostly grayscale with black, so your eyes aren't drawn to it as much. One random thing too is that they made his feet relatively large so he doesn't need a base stand. It was an interesting choice to make him a hobbit. Since I couldn't wait to talk about my favorite character in all of anime. Next up is the entertainment exclusive Shinobu Kojo. First off, this was set to release in April, but it ended up coming out a month early and came out with the rest of them, so I'm super happy about that. First detail I was drawn to was the mild sloppiness of the outlines on her eyes and eyelashes. Instinctively, I was like, hey, why are you doing this to her? But I grew to appreciate it because it's replicating the imperfections of using the brush. It's a part of the art form. Things don't have to have perfectly drawn out lines. Brushstrokes in real time don't run indefinitely like they do in Photoshop. They run out of ink. The bristles go through wear and tear. It's all a part of the style, and I love that it is replicated within these figures. Speaking of the style, I was impressed that they tried to gradient with her hair and Haori. This is the only figure in the line that attempted a blended gradient, and it looks better this way for her. Her actual design with her hair blends pretty smoothly, where if we were to compare it to Zenitsu, his yellow to orange does not fade at all. Overall, she doesn't have any harsh transitions with the blacks and whites, so it doesn't stick out as much as the others in this line, since she's mostly grayscale. But the gradient qualities make up for that in my opinion, so it makes her pop unique. Compared to her other variants, this is the weakest one, but still a fantastic pop. We got two Hashiras in this set. Next one we have is none other than Rengoku. He's a fan favorite, so why not? His pops are always going to look cool because he has great design and it translates well into Funko form. His pose is arguably the strongest attribute of this figure, very effective in that regard. In terms of style, he's mostly grayscale, but the blacks are really strong in this piece. They draw you to his crazy hair with the lines representing shadows, and his hair leading up to what would be the red tips that are all black. It has a good flow with the use of lines, and it helps create a wind-like effect, only adding to the strength of his pose. Similar to the SHINOBU, I like the imperfections with the line work, since it's representative of the brushstrokes. Compared to SHINOBU's pop, this one has more bleeding with the line work. This just goes to show that all these are not cut from the same dough, and each character has unique qualities. Tiny details like this are unseen by most, but for the ones who take the time to see it, you can really appreciate it. Here we have our cowardly lion Zenitsu. His fear is really emphasized by the brushstrokes. He has his sword up, so one would think he'd be fierce, intense, and ready to strike. But with the patchy line work around his eyes, the blank white face, you can easily interpret this as he's ready to go, get the hell out of Dodge. His hair has the most blacks, and it almost makes it the focal point with how drastic the blacks are compared to the grays that are used for his hair. This one is pretty mid, not great, but not excellent either. So I won't try to drag this out any further because I really don't have too much to say about it. There are definitely much better Zenitsu Pops out there, and I'd argue that he has the most unique variants in the series, and this one seems pretty lackluster to me compared to the other ones that I really enjoy on screen. Lastly, for the Sumi Ink line is the Tandro, and I have a big beef with this one. I really enjoy Tandro Pops because the hair is always super elaborate due to the design, but also how they color. It has a red fade that goes towards the tips, and I always enjoy that about his pops. So what is going on with this one? I get that they're trying to emphasize highlights on the hair, but it took away his best attribute, and there is no fade to the tips of his hair. They do this for every pop, so trying to change it up a little bit for a new art style is a valid choice. I just don't think it looks as good. I'd rather them experiment on lines like this than trying to do this when we get some super cool molds from the Infinity Castle and onward. So overall, I respect the decision to try something new. It's just not my favorite. So that wraps up the Sumi Ink Demon Slayer. Let's mix it up a little bit and go to the Dungeons & Dragons NFT Pops. Let me roll and see which one we start with first. A 1 through 10 is the Death Tyrant, and 11 through 20 is the Jubilex. Okay, Jubilex it is. I'll be real with you guys. I have no idea what the hell this thing is, but I like it anyways. If you're unaware of where these came from, the NFT line is where you had to buy digital packs on drop, and in those packs you had the chance to pull a redeemable card for a physical pop. Each card set had their own set of physicals that you can redeem. You could also buy, sell, or trade on their marketplace in case you didn't get the one you wanted. That was the case for this one in particular because drop isn't actually doing this thing anymore, so I sold everything I had, so I had enough to buy one last redeemable pop. I like that he has a glossy finish on the black parts of his body. It only adds to the slimy, gooey look that he has going for him. This pop glows in the dark, so let's take a look at its glow. The green is very strong with the glow, and I love it. It was a surprise to me that his random eyes glowed as well, so that was a fun little add-on. Overall, a pretty cool figure. I don't really have too much else to say about it because I know nothing about it. So if you know anything about this character, feel free to let me know in the comments. Next up is the Death Tyrant. Once this set was revealed, this was the sole reason for participating in this. I can't remember if I actually pulled this thing or bought it, so you can check in the description up above me right here. Good thing I have brain damage now. Carry on. I went all out on that one and even kind of tried to play a spellcaster for the entirety of the video, and I had a blast with it. This thing looks great in person. All the orbs are cool and has a hefty stand to hold everything up. These are almost a little distracting since they are a little thick and there are too many of them. It's really elaborate and they even included the pink orb, so I won't complain about that aspect. I also don't know what the hell this thing is, so yeah, inform us in the comments below. Alright, this thing glows as well, so let's check it out. I wanted to display it with a little bit of light so you can kind of see the transformation. The pink orbs actually glow white and it's really cool because I thought they were going to be pink. So here it is with all of the lights out. This is such a great glow. It's not overpowering like the Jubilex, but if either of these were coming my way in the dark, you bet that I would be running the opposite way. Both of these D&D Pops are pretty cool. And oh my god, I cannot believe I forgot to include these until just now. They actually came with a 20-sided die. I like die for whatever reason, even though I never use them. That was kind of also the reason why I wanted to participate in this drop, because I really like the die. Almost more than the Funkos. Let's talk about Muzan Pops. God, this is a horrible. It must be the brain damage from hitting my head, but recording this is, I don't know if it's something's messed up. I must have hit my head too hard with the knife because this recording has been horrible. You guys don't know everything I cut out, but it's a rough one. leave a like for my struggles, please. And to help YouTube promote my content. Maybe that's why they're not promoting me, because I suck. For the record, this is me without caffeine. Okay? I drink like a Gifu or a Lani. I'm fucking locked in, guys. I'm like, I'm gonna just include most of this, and hopefully you guys like, I guess. Unscripted. Finally, back to Demon Slayer products. We have 2 Muzan Pops to unbox. We'll start with the Emerald City Comic Con exclusive one first. This is a unique one because it has many different labeling options. They all have the official Funko sticker on them. And then there are 2 different con stickers. There's one shared sticker and then a con exclusive sticker. This was the fun part because if you purchased it from Funko's website, you had a chance to get a con exclusive sticker, which is roughly double the value than the shared sticker. So these 2 variations aren't the only combination though. This was a shared exclusive with Hot Topic as well. So if you were able to pick this up in store, you would have the Funko sticker, the shared convention sticker, and the Hot Topic sticker that they put on themselves. That is way too complicated. So we finally get a different variation of Muzan, and it's been long overdue. The only one we've gotten prior was the Michael Jackson twin. Since that pop, he's transformed into a woman, child, physicist, and saw what he looked like in his human life, and has become intertwined with Tommy. Low-key, that one needs to be made. Okay, this is not low-key. That has to be made. That is a cool as hell moment. I'm happy we got this one because it's just cool. The scene where he was a woman was fun, but it was also short-lived. This pop is cool because it's actually a metallic variation. This was something we never asked for and was really curious to see how it would look in person, but something I'm really glad they did. It makes his outfit seem more elegant and silky almost, like he's a very important person in society. Like he's displaying his class. The Lower Moon's lack of acknowledgement of this is probably the reason why they were all slaughtered, aside from being useless pawns. To all the men out there, learn from Lower Moon's mistakes. Okay, compliment your lady, tell her she's beautiful, and don't ignore her. That was really the main reason that they were all slaughtered. They just completely ignored the boss. I think they really did a good job with this one. So let's check out the next one, the Toy Temple exclusive Muzan. I gotta say, this one's pretty freaking dope. The blood on his face really looks good with the white color that they chose for his face. The blood is even on his clothing too, which helps complete the bloodied look. This pop is relatively simple. Basic pose, basically all grayscale beside the blood and his eyes, but it's really effective on what it's trying to portray and do. This is close to 1,000 years ago, which the past is usually represented with black and white coloring. This works well in this piece because the blood is the one actually telling the story for the piece. If it were just bare bones, old school Muzan, it wouldn't be anything special. The blood splatter tells a much more gruesome story. This was after he slaughtered an army in one blow like it was nothing, losing humanity as the death toll rises and his power grows. All of this from blood splatter. In terms of clothing and facial paint, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about his fashion statement. Aside from when he was on his deathbed, he's always been depicted in nicer attire that either the wealthy or upper middle class would wear, so I would assume that he is wearing the finest of clothing. I only have one negative thing to say about this pop, and it actually goes for both newer Muzan Pops. Why is the circle in the upper right corner not red? The OG Muzan had this, and it was so unique because he was the only character in the entirety of the Demon Slayer line that had a different color. They should have continued this trend with all Muzan Pops in my opinion. It's a subtle miss, but a small detail that would have made this way cooler for not only these ones, but future Muzan Pops. Since all the figures are now covered, it's time for the SHINOBU tree. For this, I tried to figure out what would take these pops to the next level, like they did with the original SHINOBU Kojo pop. Despite any issues I had with the Sumi Ink line, I would not take them any other way. I love that each one is unique and not just a copy and paste idea for each figure. The glossy finish on Nezuko's muzzle, the transitioning hair color for SHINOBU, new poses, even carrying the art style to the boxes. The whole thing was well thought out, and I can really appreciate everything that it has to offer. No SHINOBU treatment needed. Honestly, same goes for the NFT D&D Pops. Their glows are fantastic. They utilize different finishes that make sense. And the NFT boxes are actually like a lot higher grade cardboard, so they look and feel really nice. People spend a crap ton of money on the NFT stuff, so it should be honest. These are great. so no Shinobu treatment needed. The con exclusive Muzan. If it weren't metallic, I'd say it would need something else. But the metallic was an unexpected and nice touch, and a good example of how I can use this for future segments. I think of metallic and think of metal-like objects, like Tengen's accessories or shields or something. I never would have thought to use it on clothing. And like all the other pops, no Shinobu treatment needed. Did I hit my head a little too hard earlier? Because these are all just really good pops. The Toy Temple Muzan. Make the blood glow and his outfit metallic. I love it, and that's just kind of my standard now. They really dropped the ball. What did you guys think of these pops? Did you like them as much as I did? Let me know in the comments below. A few other figures that were supposed to be in this video got delayed, so make sure you're subscribed so that way you can check out those cool unboxings next month. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.